Hello?
That still says planning director.
Good morning, Howard.
Morning, Kevin. I think it's Kevin, isn't it?
Good morning, Howard. You hear me? Good morning. Good morning, nice schoolhouse. Good morning.
Good morning. Can you hear us?
Can you hear us, Kevin?
Good morning. Good morning. Good morning.
Kevin, can you hear us?
Good morning. Good morning.
Hang on 1 second, Kevin.
I can see, but I can't hear you. My Bluetooth isn't working. Put it on a holder here.
How about now?
We join as a, you didn't join as a moderator.
No audio.
I just followed what was in the join the meeting instructions. I couldn't get to the video.
Oh, heard something with my doorbell. I cannot hear you. No audio.
You clicked on the link.
Well, that's what the instructions I had.
Yeah. How do you start it at home?
Just click on that.
Yeah, guys. Let's see, my mute.
Oh, good, Jerry. Thanks for together.
Can you hear me now?
Yeah.
Just hold on, we're just having some technical difficulties. Hey, Melissa, is that you?
Got some feedback there, Howard.
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Yes.
Okay, I'll mute myself. It says BPTS chair, and that's Howard, right? That's not right.
Yeah, I see that.
And there's
So-
a phone. Is the phone Caroline Vertonghen? Who's on the phone? Or maybe it's the sheriff's office who's on the phone. I don't know who these phone numbers are.
Oh, we got another phone number.
Well, we'll have a roll call.
Soon as we get a real chair.
Good morning, Angela.
Ah,
Good
okay.
morning, Gary.
Yeah, good morning.
Where are you?
Right here. I'm right here.
Anyone hear us?
Oh,
There-
good. We can see you.
there-
That's good.
yeah.
Okay. Well, I won't be able to talk too much because I'm in a class.
I have a very hard deadline at 9:30.
Okay. All right. Well, I'm going to be here, but doing something else as well. Today. It's 12. 22.
What's the date? The 7th.
Hey, Gary,
Yes.
you know, that trailer hasn't been moved. The battery's been down for a while.
No, it was moved a couple days ago.
Oh, was it? Oh, good.
Yeah.
Okay. You have a little cold?
Worse than that, I got COVID.
Oh, no.
Oh no.
Yeah. Somewhere in the middle of last week, I must have picked it up.
So you're-
How do I control? Actually, let me look at this.
Okay.
I got it. I figured it out. Okay.
I can hear Howard.
I went to the participants and it's muted.
Hello?
Good morning,
I think
Howard.
that's it. Hold on one second. Hold on one second. Can you hear me now?
I can hear you.
Yeah, we hear you.
Okay, we got it. Hey, thanks, Melissa. It was muted inside the laptop. Okay.
All right.
And yeah, the other thing, okay, fine. The names, when you log in from the laptop, it defaulted to the planning department. That's all. But we could talk about that later.
Okay.
But if you're the host, you can rename it.
Got it. Okay. Hey, thanks. Goodbye. Goodbye. Okay, hold on one second. Let me put the mute on this button.
Okay,
It was muted on the laptop. As the first person that logged on to this meeting, this becomes automatically the moderator.
Okay.
First time around, so the Zoom room.
okay, so
Well, we lost you guys.
we're just picking up on a couple of details here. We'll be right with you. Please give me 30 seconds. I want to just confirm something with Howard, and then we'll be right back. Normal service will be resumed as soon as possible.
Okay. Technology.
Who is on 650-678-7562? Is that
Kevin,
It's me, Angela.
no, you're 883-24433.
No, that's not me. $8082.
Well, there's a different phone number too, 650-678-7562, and I don't know who
Oh.
it is.
Yeah, that's not me.
That must be Ed, because Ed was talking. He's got his hand up. I don't know who it is.
Hi, Angela. It's Caroline Bertongan. Good morning.
Thank you very much. It just
No
helps
problem.
to write the minutes up before we get started.
Thank you.
All right. Is everyone able to hear me right now? And I'd like to call the meeting to order if it seems like everything's going correctly.
I can hear you.
All right. Thank you very much. Good morning, everyone. Thank you for your patience. This is a first time trying to drive the hybrid meeting system. A few glitches, but I think we've got the mind out. Thank you, Howard, for helping with that side of it. So let's begin with our normal first item agenda to call the meeting to order and hold our roll call. Thank you. I'm Ed Holland, Chair.
Kevin Welch.
Angela Hay.
Anybody else?
Okay. I don't
That's
think
it.
we have Pat, and I know we don't have Gary is unable to make it today. So I think we are 2 members short. Does that still give us a quorum, or are we sure?
Yes,
Isn't Gary on Zoom? I'm looking at him. Sorry.
that's a different Gary.
Oh.
Gary Nielsen. Yeah, that
Gary Haynes.
is our committee member.
That's
Yeah.
Gary.
I'm not an official committee member.
We have a quorum if we have 3 out of 5.
Okay, in which case we'll proceed. Our second item is the opportunity for resident comments and committee member comments for items that are not further down the agenda. If anyone has anything they'd like to bring up at this point, please go ahead.
Yes, I'm sorry, my hand's not working. This is Rita Comas Whitney, and I'd like to just ask a question about the proposed roundabouts that are to be in Ladera at those 2 junctions. And if this committee is looking into what the impact it will be for Portola Valley for evacuation and just for flow of traffic and for the fire trucks that might need to come and save us.
Thank you, Rita. I'd like to know about those too. This is the first I've heard about this as a proposal.
Yes, past Marianne Derwin had been helping the group in Ladera with Horsley to get funds to study that. And that project is moving forward. And so if there's probably more information that you can get from that person.
Right. Okay. Thank you. That's certainly something worth following up. I imagine that is a project that is under the jurisdiction of Menlo Park. That's just outside our borders for Portola Valley. Howard, is it something you're aware of?
County, maybe?
No, we're gonna have to find out a little more information. Typically, the county notifies us if there's anything proposed. I know there was, years ago, we had the public
Alpine
meetings,
corridor.
yeah, in Ladera. So I know that those items are all posted on the website, and so I would encourage the committee and the public to also go to the county's website, because it's a very thorough website that they set up. And I know that the VPTS at the time and staff also attended those meetings, as well as they invited the public in Portola Valley to attend those meetings. So as to the results and next steps, I haven't heard of anything, but I think it's good for all of us to check that website.
But yeah, I'd recommend that too. That was from memory, that was about 5 or 6 years ago.
Yes, they did do some things. Some of the lighted pedestrian rapid flashing beacons, some of the solar feedback signs, those were done. I know that the roundabouts were questionable due to funding, but I think it's probably good for all of us to look at the website. You know, I know it's active right now, and
Yeah.
revisit that, and then maybe report it back again next meeting as to what's on the website and if we need to follow up with any county
Yep,
staff.
I'll certainly take that action. Thank you, Rita, for bringing that to us. Are there any further comments for open public and oral communications, please?
No, I don't. Are there no more public comments?
Okay, if there are no further public comments, let's move on to item 3. That's our approval of the minutes from our November 2nd meeting. I believe those to be a true and accurate record of the meeting. Does anyone have any further comment, or may I propose that we accept those and look for a second, please?
There's one comment I have. I think once I made a statement last month there's a dollar sign in front of my name or dollar sign in front of a number. I have to just look at that again. I don't have the,
I saw, I saw a little
yeah,
error on the date actually. So
Yeah.
I'll just check. I'll just edit.
thanks, Angela.
Thank you, Angela. I think, Kevin, that just means you're our most valuable member of the committee.
Right.
All right, thank you. So can we move to accept the minutes based on accepting that correction?
Yes.
And a second.
Thank you. Item 4 on the agenda is our report from the Sheriff's Department. I know they did send us a report this month. I will circulate that to the committee. There were rather, I think we had a monthly citations report and a yearly report. Is that correct? Gary, would you like to comment on that? It's all I don't think we have Patrick Taylor or anyone from Sheriff's Office here today.
Yeah, I don't have anything to add to that. Let me get a hold of our sheriffs and make sure that somebody is attending the meetings. Did they attend last month?
Yes, they did.
They did.
Patrick Taylor, Officer Taylor.
Patrick was here? Okay,
And he's been our regular. He's been pretty reliable actually so far. So
okay. Good.
I had a comment. There was an accident on the Skyline Drive that was near Fogarty Winery, which is actually put down as Portola Valley. And I wondered whether the police ever looked at that and included that in our citations and accidents.
that is a good question. I think we'd have to have some live member of the office with us to answer that properly. I know, I think it was last week or the week before, there was an accident on Portola Road. But I guess that won't be reported until next month at the earliest. I think it was a car coming out of either Santa Maria, or I forget what's the next one. Looked like somebody had hit somebody turning, but I couldn't tell. Road was briefly closed. I will certainly forward that report to all the committee members so I can review that. Does seem like there were rather few citations.
Morning. Come in.
Hunter, Kevin, should I just?
Good check.
Okay, another part of our sheriff's report and this section is to ask for any additional monitoring or things that we think that the sheriff's offices should be looking out for in town. Is there something there that any member of the public or the committee would like more attention paid before we move along?
Maybe speeding motorbikes on weekends. I've seen a few motorbikes speeding through the town on weekends.
Okay, thank you, Angela. All right.
Angela, are you talking about motorized bikes or?
No, I'm talking about very noisy motorbikes, motorcycles.
Okay.
Yeah, that's worth noting. Thank you. If we have nothing further on the sheriff's report item, we'll move on to item 5, which is our public works update. Howard.
Thank you.
Sign in, please. Thanks.
So I know that on the ongoing, I'll cover some of the traffic projects below on ongoing business, but on this one, I'm just going to cover just a general public works update. So no major issues that were known that were called in outside of the traffic accident report. Haven't heard anything of parking or other issues. I just want to let you follow up on 3 spots. I know Creek Park Drive, we've been monitoring that for kind of Rosati, Alpine Inn traffic. Haven't not seen much. Been paying attention to it, and the most we've seen is 1 or 2 or 3 cars parked there, and we can't really zero in on if those are related to Rosati's or Alpines, or could just be residents also, or Alpine Hill Swim and Tennis Club. And we've looked at Mondays when they've closed. There's typically several cars that could be parked on Creek Park Drive, but they could be the residents or their guests. And on days that they are open, the Alpine Inn is open.
Excuse me.
It ranges from 0 to 1 to 2 and
Huh?
rarely.
Oh, good.
3.
Do we have any more contact from the resident?
No contact. We asked for pictures and we didn't get any pictures, any response. Haven't seen any parking on Golden Oaks, casual observation, Golden Oaks and Alpine Road, have not seen anything, nor litter. And on Alpine Road on Westridge Drive near Alamos, haven't seen anything in there particular either. So it is the rainy season, haven't seen much on Portola Road at Windy Hill either. So those are the areas that we've visited. Haven't had any complaints on Willowbrook and Alpine either. Let's see, we'll move to paving. Slurry seal project is substantially complete. We might have some small cleanup items, but everyone I think has the striping already. That's already done. And just a reminder that, we looked at, providing 5 feet clearance on the edges of the road as we're slurry sealing and resurfacing, and also roll the shoulders too. So I think everyone's seen the on Alpine Road, that's the only section that affects that. And I think everyone's seen that already. So I haven't had any comments on it at all.
Howard,
Yes.
the shoulder lane is really nice and smooth for bicycle. It's extremely smooth.
Thank you very much, Kevin, for recognizing that. That was, once again, the town pays extra to roll just the shoulders for the bicyclists. And that's just to simulate tire traffic that the normal part of the roadway travel lanes get. So I don't have any comments concerning the slurry seal, so I'm assuming no comments. If there are any comments, please email them to me. But it's such a big project this year. We did 14 or 15 streets and haven't had much comments. So that's a good thing. The project on Arrastradero, once again, that's a county project. Even though there's signs on Alpine Road, I had them put Arrastradero Road on there, so not to be, on their signboards. It says road project. It didn't say Arrastradero. I told them to put Arrastradero so people would know. But the town is doing it. Out of the public works items, the town. It's rainy season. The town is working on its fields right now. Renovating its fields with the slit seating, aeration on all the fields. And we also do those in the winter time because we're saving water. Many people do it during the summer. Culverts, we're concentrating on all of our street culverts and water bars, having our crew clean and check culverts, the storm drains, and the trails water bars. And I would encourage anyone, we send a message out that basically encourages anyone, in the front of their home to kind of check for leaves and debris that are clogging the storm drains in front of their home and on the roadway, and try to keep those clear and help the town keep those things clear. It basically just takes a rake or a shovel just to push the leaves out of the way, and think the drains will keep moving. Also, I encourage everyone to continue to use PV Connect to report problems, maintenance issues. Also, there were 2 follow-up items. One indicating that there's litter around the schools because of the project. And I did follow up with the project manager in the schools, and they did look into it. And I'll leave it off at that. And I did also meet Pat and Angela out at Portola and Alpine to discuss some potential signage lists for bicyclists. So that is my update. If there's any questions, please let me know. Thank you.
Excuse me, I have a question, but Kevin, can you mute your background? I think it's coming from Kevin. It's made it hard to hear Howard.
Thank you, Rita.
But Ed, let me know when I can ask my question.
I was going to jump in with one quick question about the review you had with Angela and Pat at Alpine and Portola. Is that something, I don't think I put that on the lower agenda. Is that something you want to discuss now, or we'll let Rita ask a question first?
I think what I was gonna talk to our traffic engineer about the requests. There's some signage and concepts that we want to review, so that's gonna take time. Feedback.
We did, actually, I realize on my agenda, I do have item C, which is a report, ongoing report from that alternative transportation infrastructure development. So perhaps we can cover that item there. That is in item 6 of our ongoing business, 6C. So yes, Rita, please go ahead.
Yeah, Howard, we've had so much work going on Westridge, especially from Alpine to Alamos. And that road itself is really breaking down. I feel like I'm on a speedway, having, a dirt speedway, having to go one angle and then another angle because part of the road is like fallen. And there's a couple of edges on the road as you're just in the lane coming up from Alpine Road. Is there going to be a plan for some work on that area? Because I can only imagine with the rain, it's just going to be worse. There's like a huge lift, couple of lifts in the road between Alpine and my house.
I can answer that. Yes, there is. In fact, that's a very good question. We are actually in the middle of design right now for that section of street. We are aware that there were 3 homes built in that one stretch of road from Alamo on Westridge, from Alamos to Alpine. And there was a lot of development in utilities. And there was treatment in I think the last treatment was 2013. I can't recall off the top of my head. But that was a slurry seal, and we are looking to do
2014, 2 weeks after I moved into my new home.
I was close. So 2014, it got a slurry seal or a cape seal. This next year, if everything goes as planned, we are doing some major renovations on that road. Asphalt overlay type, major base repairs type of restoration. But it was something that we had to hold off a little on because of the 2 homes that were actively being built there as recently as last year.
Yeah, those homes are still being worked on as of this week. And then there's that huge Cal Water, sewage project going on closer to Alpine. But the road is really bad. I think some type of emergency, especially on that lift and dip that's there. We're going to lose hubcaps and possible accidents because of that. So I'm not sure if that's under you or under someone else, but that really needs to be looked at because that's a hazard right now. Thank you.
Yeah.
And
So
I can show you. You can meet up with me, and I'll gladly show you.
Yeah,
I'll take your word for it, Rita. I see there was a meeting at your house a little while ago that I attended, and I cycled there up and down the road, and it was pretty scary.
So that is Public Works, and we've started design already. I mean, we have inspected that road. I don't know, I think it was maybe 4 weeks ago, and there was a number of us that walked the whole entire road and inspected the road and started marking for repairs already. So that is.
I saw you there.
You saw me there? Oh,
I saw you there, and I asked one of the guys, what are they doing? And how about they fix that road?
So we will, if we need to patch potholes, we will. But I can tell you, it is being actively designed and scheduled for this, probably August of next year for construction, hopefully. So there are some, it is a project we are actively working on.
Thank you. But if there can be an emergency repair, especially for that one spot, that I'm sure everyone that comes up Westridge would appreciate it because something bad is going to happen, and I wouldn't want someone to either lose life or be in an accident. Thank you.
Thank you.
All right. Thank you, Rita. If there are any other items for Public Works update, subject, please raise your hand or make a comment. Otherwise, I'd like to move on to our ongoing committee business. Okay, item 6 on our agenda, ongoing committee business. First thing I have on here is 6A, which is a request for an update on the recommendation to remove the redwood tree located in the right of way on Portola Road in the vicinity of entrance of Brookside. That's the westerly entrance.
So I can speak to that.
Thank you, Howard.
So we reached out to get quotes already. So we've gotten several quotes and we got a low bidder. I also reached out to PG&E who acknowledge that, you know, their responsibility is the branches. So I was figuring, well, maybe they can help us remove the tree, but that's not the case, it sounds like. So we have gotten several quotes. I have talked to the immediate adjacent homeowner and to determine if there's any concerns. I have drafted a letter that I'm preparing to send out to everyone within 300 feet to notify them that the tree is going to be removed. And if there's any questions, to give me a call during a certain deadline. But we're working on getting hopefully that out here this week or next week to all the residents.
All right, very good. Is there a timeline on when you'd proceed once there was a green light?
Well, the contractor has a slot in January. We're targeting January, February. With the rains right now, I'd like to do it when it's safe because we have to close the lane there. And it is a big, significant tree that we are going to remove. And the original requester also asked us to stump grind too, which would actually may or may not damage the stone retaining wall there. So we have to approach with care, and the homeowner there has concerns with it too. So we're working out the details, but it is moving forward, and we are essentially going to send the notice out. At least the public process is done through the committees. We are just sending out the notices to everyone within 300 feet to notify them that that tree is being planned to be removed.
Great. Well, thank you very much. That's, I think, real progress. Thank you.
Ed?
Gary,
Ed?
yes.
Yeah, I just Liz and I took a test run there a month or so ago, and it took both of us to make a left-hand turn, working pretty hard. And still, we weren't sure things were going to turn out all right. So I'm glad, I'm happy that we're taking that tree out.
Thank you, Gary. I think, yeah, it's probably the right thing to do, even though I don't like to remove a tree, but
Yeah, agreed.
location. Thank you very much. Okay, I have moving on to 6B. This is a standing item for any discussion related to renewal of the sheriff's contracts and things that we'd like to see included in that, or additional changes in service that we might receive from the sheriff. This is a standing item. There's no need to spend a long time discussing, but if you have something relevant to that, please go ahead and share your comment. Anyone have anything? Don't think he mentioned also, Angela, monitoring for motorbikes and things in town at the weekends. That's something that comes under just more general monitoring and keeping traffic in order. Does seem to be something that's rather sporadic. Certainly given the number of citations we saw over the last month, previous month, which would have been, I think we got the October report. Rose 1 month behind so that they can collate all the citations accurately for that month. But it was rather a low number. It was surprising. I think it was 34 in total, if I remember correctly. Since I read the report from the sheriff's office.
I don't have that.
I don't have it with me, I'm afraid. I will circulate that, as I mentioned earlier. Okay, if we don't have anything relating to that this time, I will leave it on the agenda. So if there are things you think about relating to service from the Sheriff's Department, please let me know directly or bring it up at the next meeting. Item C was a report from, as required from the subcommittee on alternative transport and infrastructure development. So Angela, would you like to comment on that? Because it seems that you have some activity to discuss.
Yes, so Pat and I met with Howard and Howard, Pat had drawn up some signs that you could put at the bottom below the stop sign, or even replace the stop sign with one that said bicycles also have to stop. So the various designs that are around this area that we've seen that advise cyclists how they can stop. So one thing is to actually just update the stop signs or put a little sign underneath that said cyclists also have to stop. And the other thing is marking the lanes, maybe putting a direction sign of where the cyclists have to go if they want to go straight on, or if they want to turn, where they should be in the road. You know, there are various signs. So Howard is going to talk to Paul Krupke about it and see what we would propose. I mean, what would fit the Caltrans standards.
Thank you. Yeah, I know that those things look straightforward, but what I've heard before is that there are some semantics about the existing roadway design and the existence of other infrastructure, things like bike lanes are required to make some of the changes. So it's a little bit of a puzzle to work out what is consistent and what is not consistent with how things are.
Yes, and we have very different examples in the towns around us, like Los Altos and Redwood City and other places, you know, that. So.
All right. Thank you very much. I think if with your permission, I'd like to keep that as an ongoing item on our regular business.
Yes, we have other projects that we want to look at too, but we're just working through one project at a time. And so it was the Alpine Portola Junction, and we looked at that. Yeah.
So is your current plan to continue on that and sort of go one by one, or is there something that you're going to introduce?
Well, I think we'll wait to hear back from Howard, because there are budget implications for these things, and so we can't do everything at once.
All right. Well, thank you very much. That's interesting progress. I'll be interested to learn more when there's more feedback from Paul Cook. Thank you. That concludes our ongoing committee business and the bulk of our agenda, unless anyone has any matters arising or any further comments they'd like to make related to today's agenda. I deliberately kept it short as we're coming up into the holiday season, so there aren't many actions that we'll be able to take during that period, so we'll sort of resume normal business in January. So unless anyone has any further comments, I'd like.
I think we skipped. Did we skip B?
We skip B?
We did the general thing. We skipped B. We went to.
No. We discussed that's the.
We just
discussed
said
items
that
for the
just
committee.
right now.
Did cover that.
Okay. Can I get it? Because I want to do a quick update.
Oh, yes, please.
Okay, I just wanted to report on the items for the rapid flashing.
Oh, thank you. Yes, I didn't actually include those this time, but if you have something to comment, please go ahead.
Oh, okay. So, and I'll talk to Ed a little bit more on the rapid flashing beacon project. We've gotten some base schematics from the engineering firm. So potentially the crosswalks at Alpine could move a couple of feet there, you know, for layout. It's not no substantial difference. The one on Portola Road near the Priory, that could move 5-10 feet north a little bit. There, you know, it's essentially in the same area, but with some minor shifts. We've looked at the other two alternatives, but that's the alternative. Leaving it or moving it a little bit north was what we're talking about right now. Let's see, the signs on Windy Hill, that's progressing. I did check with the town attorney and the town manager. At this point, unless there's further discussions, we will not be going to the ASCC
Okay, so the design phase for that can proceed.
for that.
Um,
So I wanted to, something I wanted to talk to you a little further on how to proceed. And I know that there were some questions on the signage, which ones could be delayed. I think there was a question at one of the last meetings if signs 1, 2, and 3, which was closer to Stonegate, could be held off on or not put in yet, and the answer was yes. And we can talk about that more further.
Okay, thank you.
And those were the updates.
All right, that's got a nice little Easter egg for us. Oh, thank you, Howard. I think that's some good progress. So not included that since I figured we were into the sort of later season. And I'll leave that on as a standing item.
I'll leave that up to you.
Committee triggered project or something. I'll find a name for it. It's
Well, actually, we can do that, or basically I can just provide updates.
okay.
Yeah, when there
do that
are.
in public works updates.
Yeah.
Right, thank you. Are there any further comments to Howard's additional reporting? Or
Howard, which crosswalk were you talking about moving 5 feet? I just missed it.
I think that was
That's the one at the Woodside Priory. So essentially,
Yeah.
they're in the same locations. All I want to say is basically there are just minor shifts within that same vicinity to make them more optimal. That's all.
Yeah, I thought
And
that's.
that, and
what you-
that was a recommendation by Paul Krupka. And I will review that a little bit more with Ed. So in a future meeting, we can provide a little bit more details. But essentially, we looked at 3 alternatives in front of the Priory location. And at the minute now, we're still looking at the existing location in that vicinity. And I just wanted to let everyone know that. So I and Ed will talk about that a little bit more and have more information at the upcoming meeting.
all right. Thank you, Howard. I look forward to that.
Okay.
It's like some good progress. So I'm starting to begin to understand the real path for engineering rather than just proposals. So that's encouraging. Okay. Unless there are further comments, I'd like to declare the meeting adjourned and give notice that our
Excuse me, I've had my hand up for quite
Ed,
a while.
the new system does not present hands very clearly. If you have a comment, please go ahead.
Thank you. I have several comments. First of all, thank you, Angela, for bringing this up and taking it on and doing one project at a time. I hope you guys are still working or keeping that idea of having the roundabouts. And now that we know Ladera is going to implement them, and since we know how slow Portola Valley is, perhaps we should look at that and make sure that that works. I know that for those who have been following the safety plan, urban planning and the other government agency who was working on it, they had several concerns because with the roundabouts, you would have to widen the street a little bit to provide a nice bike lane. So I'm all for it. It's great progress. So hopefully they will set the example and then we can follow. On the flashing beacons, for those who drive by Ladera, we constantly see people are not using the flashing beacons. So in my opinion, I've issued that before. It's a waste of our money. They're not very reliable. It costs a lot to repair, and we don't need them because pedestrians usually don't need them. They don't wait until the button goes. And then there was another comment, the first one. Oh, no, it's not on the agenda, but the Trails Commission has done a great work. This is in the leadership of Liz Bob and her team, and they have a new map out. It's great. Hopefully it will be, the town council will approve it and publish it. And they're really looking forward to the safe bike and pedestrian routes to school. I've attended many of these meetings, and they always say that PPTS will work with you guys, work with them, but I don't see anything on the agenda. So I hope that you start working with them and that we get something done. That's about it. Thank you.
Thank you, Caroline.
Oh, no, I have one more question. Why is the ASCC not going to be involved in this again?
So Howard took the responsibility to consult with town staff, and I think it was Laura Russell.
I talked to Laura Russell, Dave Ross, Cara Silva, the town attorney, and Jeremy Dennis, the town manager. The municipal code, we're following the municipal code is what we're doing as it relates to that. And we are using the BBTS as the form of the vessel for public outreach.
I know, but we never see public outreach. And every time there is public outreach, which we have seen in the last 5 years, we spend our time and we comment and nothing gets done. Consultants miss a lot of issues. And as we have seen, a lot of projects have been approved with the same paid consultants using the same outdated data and data from other cities, San Mateo, not from Portola Valley, or data from during COVID. And it's, you know, that's why we have all these issues piling up to each other. We residents, as you remember, Portola Valley is run by residents. It's not by paid staff. And we see more and more where the planning director is taking over. Jeremy Dennis is supposed to coordinate the services, but there is an input from the public. And for you guys to decide on that is not okay and should be presented to the town council. Thank you.
Caroline, I would absolutely say that what this committee does is to consider solutions and present solutions as recommendations to the town council for their approval. The town council still has the final say. This is not this committee acting autonomously.
Ed, can I add to that?
Yes, please do.
So I want to go back to the pedestrian safety study that we've been working for a while. And I also want to bring back that if off the top of my head, I think, you know, right away, as part of the resurfacing project, we wrapped in 14 intersections that were upgraded. And that's very significant in the town's history to do something like that. So right away, we did a significant improvements to a huge number of intersections. And that was through there was a public process that was a lot of outreach through the BBTS, and there were multiple meetings, and if I recall, special meetings also.
Correct.
And also as part of that plan, we are moving forward with more things as part of the lighted crosswalks. Those are substantial facilities that require power and design. And that went through a public process. We are not finished with the public process because we're still designing that, but there is still the resident notification part, in which I want to step back a little bit. We are, you know, to notify the residents of what we're doing, but the original pedestrian safety study, also everyone was notified about that too.
Yep.
So
that's public information. I believe
that is correct. But remember, the main issues were the crossings by Corte Madera, the crossings by the Priory, and that was decided. The study started with those two issues in 2017 again, which we have done before that again. So it was approved by the town council in 2019 on the condition that that crossing would be moved. And we haven't seen anything. I mean, painting and replacing signs, anybody can do that. I'm pretty sure that the public director, engineer can do this, you know, with guidance of a consultant. But to waste $285,000 on continuous reports and new designs, we haven't seen any designs. It's really a waste of our money, and it's not good management. Sorry to say. Thank you.
well, thank you. And I don't, you know, I don't know where you got the figure of 285,000, but if that was a budgeted item, that's not a spent item. That could be a budgeted for construction, including construction also. So, I don't have on the top of my head the actual figures for design, but those you could get that from the finance department and public information through our warrant lists. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard.
Christy Corley has her hand up.
Oh, yes, Christy, go ahead, please.
Yes, thank you. Did you give us an update on the Alpine crosswalk with beacons that we asked for a couple years ago and you got a grant for and the money is there and delayed? Can you confirm the date that will be implemented? And my second comment is, how is the town of Portola Valley working with the county on Alpine Road and full circulation study, not a partial circulation study? I know since this is the traffic committee, it is a real concern. And I'm not seeing reports on how we know what Ladera is doing down at La Mesa and La Cuesta, but what are we doing at Westridge and the rest of Alpine Road? So that's of interest to those of us that live on Alpine Road. And, you know, in the past, we've had a study around Neely. We've had a study around Windy Hill, but how are we going to do a full circulation and all arterials report? And are we, and that's my second question. Then my third one is, are we utilizing the license plate reader for up-to-date traffic reports and circulation? Or are we going, I mean, if we don't use our technology that we have on Alpine Road and Portola Road, that's just not using the most up-to-date. So how can we do that and in a better way? Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. I think let's take those questions in turn. The rapid flashing beacon crosswalk location at Alpine, I presume you mean Alpine and Golden Hills. That is part of, it was included as part of our pedestrian safety study outcome. And I think that is also included in what Howard was commenting to earlier while we were discussing positioning, layout of crosswalks, and having done some of the baseline engineering work that's required to actually even consider breaking ground. So that is included in part of the ongoing design process that is now sort of proceeding to that engineering phase. Is that correct, Howard?
Yes, that was one of the things I reviewed during the Public Works update.
Can I get a date? I didn't hear a date.
I think you've asked this question several times, and I think we've provided some. We are not providing a hard date at this moment. That our tentative date that what we want to start is next summer on construction. That is what we want to do. Based on the design, there is still a public input process here that could affect it, and I think we've talked about this before in previous meetings. So I hope that answers that question. Do you want me to answer the rest of the questions?
Would be helpful. I think that does come more under.
That's very vague.
It's necessarily vague since the engineering work is not completed. I think funds are in place, but with maybe some additional budgeting with the town to complete. Would that be correct to say?
So the construction funds, a grant was provided. That is a good thing. Is basically, typically what happens is that you design a project and then you go get the funding. In this case, we happened to apply for a grant and we got it first before design. So I just want to control the perception that, oh, we got the money and then we can go ahead and start it. In actuality, we got the money before the design was done. That's typically not the case. So if you see that budgeted, it doesn't mean that, oh, it's okay to go and do the construction yet. It's just because of the way we did it. We happen to proactively apply for the grant funds ahead of time and we got them.
Well, can I ask one additional question to that? Is there a limit in time by which that grant money must be claimed?
Yes, there is.
And what is that?
I can't remember off the top. I believe off the top of my head, it's 2024.
Okay.
That it has to be spent by.
It does kind of put an outside limit on where we would expect to see something happened.
Yes, because it's from the county and they have to report to their constituents also. So we provide reports to them on how and when the money is spent. And there's a lot of paperwork process that goes through spending that money and documenting how we spend the money.
Thank you.
So my question on the license plate readers,
So concerning the license, I'm on plate readers. The license plate readers were installed with a purpose, with a specific purpose. It was not for the specific purpose of using that data for counts. And that's not what they were specifically meant to do. If the town does do counts, and I know that there was, you voiced concerns about when counts were done. Fortunately, we did counts before the pandemic. So there is a baseline there too. Then recent counts also. So, to get counts, that's something that we can do. It is a cost factor, but that is something that we can do. But I can tell you that we have counts right before the pandemic, and then we've done counts a couple months ago.
Thank you.
Uh,
I believe there was some discussion about the service we have associated with the license plate readers. Is that correct? Whether there's something that would be available for discussion on what's provided, what data is provided by them. Is that something that's worth pursuing at this stage?
No, there's an annual audit report that comes out in February, early next year that we have to do. And I think the public you can look at even past years, go to the website and look at past years of what is included in that.
Okay.
And then I know there was a comment on a full circulation study. That is something you mentioned things based on private development on the Neely project and so on. Those are through the planning department on individual studies. There's no topic here of doing a full circulation study in town, other than we've done counts, and we can go into that if you could call me, Christine, and I can talk to Ed about it. As there hasn't been a significant anything that pops out that we need to do a full circulation study that we have and which we would have to budget for also.
I have to think carefully about what the scope of that actually is. How you go, what the methodology would be required to capture that in a way that is meaningful. Being a scientist, you've always got to think about your experiment before you start it. So yeah.
I think
there's one last thing.
Let's see. Rest of our part. I mean, on how we're, working with the county. I think we answered that earlier before. I think,
Does that answer your questions, Christy?
no, I am
Interesting.
interested. I am interested how we are working with the county on Alpine Road.
and in what aspects?
Well, Alpine Road continues into county. Alpine Road is county road at Ladera Church to 280. And prior to that, it's Portola Road. Alpine Road. So with all these builds coming in, I guess we want to know as residents, what's the plan?
With the builds coming in,
Yes, over the next 8 years. What is your plan for Alpine Road with the development, since most of the development is on Alpine Road? When I drive down Alpine Road, I think, okay, there's a build there, there's a build to the right, there's a build to the left, there's a gateway, there's Glen Oaks. I think we're going to need to talk about it, and I just would like to hear your thoughts on it.
You're discussing the potential residential builds along Alpine Road and changes there?
The cumulative effects of
Yes.
the development and how it affects traffic and noise and sound going forward. What are you planning, since this is the traffic committee going forward? Because we put out our housing element, and to me, the traffic goes right along with it.
Yes, it does. That's something I will be bringing up once we get into the new council cycle and start to look at that again. With certain development considerations in EIR, I was discouraged from bringing a committee discussion of that to the meeting because I was told there were a limited number of meetings that could be held surrounding certain planning applications and those things. So I think it's incumbent on me to find out the places where we can interject ourselves without compromising or falling foul of any rules. So leave that with me and I'll see where we can go. Angela, I think you have a hand up.
Yeah, I think it's the circulation element of the general plan, in that the general plan is looking at safety and housing, and it is not looking at the circulation element. And the general plan has to be consistent. And so the question for the committee is, do we have an impact on the general plan, and should that be changed? I mean, should there be a general plan for circulation? I think that's what Christie's trying to get at.
Thank you, Angela. That's a good point, an interesting clarification. Christy, does that help?
Yeah, thank you for saying that, Angela.
Well, let me take those things under consideration and I'll include that as an item for discussion, at least how we start to grapple with as a question at our next meeting.
Yeah. And I'll also chime in that you probably want to talk to Laura Russell of the planning department on how, because these are potential developments.
Right.
Even though all of us have part of the review, the spearhead and the people that put that together is the building and planning department.
Right. Because that encompasses each development has its own environmental impact report. There should be traffic and circulation considerations on an individual basis. But then there's a cumulative effect of all those things together. And so it's how those play with each other and how you consider the small and the large aspect at the same time.
Yeah. And it is part of
the other one, Ed, is the Hawthorns property. And
Yes.
the Hawthorns, when Pat and I were talking to Howard, there was some talk about should the Hawthorns exit at Portola and Alpine Road, and apparently that is not the case. The thought is now to have it at the very lower end, lower down Alpine, where and not on Los Trancos. So there's another aspect that I don't know, Howard, if there's an environmental impact review for the Hawthorns, or if that is just done through some other means.
Yeah, how is that handled?
Yeah. So once again, from my knowledge to date, they are doing a traffic study, which I'm assuming at some point they're going to bring to the town through the planning department for the development that they want. I know that they've held a number of public meetings, and I think, I don't know if I believe I forwarded you some of them.
You did. I was unable to attend. So please keep letting us know. Perhaps some other member of the committee would be able to.
Okay.
Involved in that.
Yeah, but they have held public meetings and they have advertised. But I am aware that they are they were in the initial stages of determining scope of work for a traffic study. So that is going to be most, assuming forthcoming from them.
Will you be able to have them have access to our license plate readers? This is up-to-date information rather than before 2020. We're at 2022 and we should have these numbers. They should have them available to them, to their circulation report company. In my opinion, the more information we can help on the circulation, the better for our town. So I do know other cities are doing circulation reports in preparation of their development. And so I'd encourage that. Thank you.
And can I answer that?
Yes, thank you, Christy.
So I think the best thing to do is call Laura Russell from the Building and Planning Department. There are individual traffic studies that are done on how they impact the town. And the second item is that we do share information. I can tell you I have shared information with MROSDs on our traffic counts. Not produced by the LPR, but more accurately tube counts where we run the tubes on the streets. Those are most likely more accurate. Thank you.
Thank you, Howard. I think if there's nothing further, I'd like to draw attention to the time for our meeting is coming to a close. And with no further objections, I would like to adjourn the meeting. Thank you very much, everybody, for your attentions today. Our next scheduled meeting is on January 4th, 2023. Into next year. I shall be out of the country at that point.
I won't be there either.
you
So,
won't be there?
no, I'm wondering if we should postpone it a week.
I was considering the same thing. Could we take a show of hands on proposing that as an alternative, have an extraordinary meeting, which I think would then fall on the
11th.
11th. Yes, thank you. January. And I'll discuss that with Melissa and send out a note as soon as I am able to determine whether that's available or not. All right, well, thank you. So say, declare the meeting adjourned. Wish everybody all the best for the season. And if I don't see you before then, have a good Christmas, holidays, New Year. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. And I think this is our first run through of the hybrid system. I think
Well, apart from a few difficulties at the
Worked pretty
beginning,
good.
did fairly well. So thank you everybody for being patient.
Happy holidays.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.